Should recording? Yes. Okay. Good. Um. hmm, 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 hmm. So, today, um, what do I want to talk about? Oh, right. So, basically, I kind of wanted to talk about how, well, really just the political party system, and most of you are already gonna probably click off because of that. Anyways, um, I think that we have gone wrong in terms of picking a two-party system and really just having parties in general. I mean, Washington in his farewell address, George Washington, the first president of the United States, if anyone didn't know, um, in his farewell address, he really just said that we should not, we should not let the spirit of party into politics and into our nation because it creates division, it creates a ideological divide that is not helpful in actually, running a government. I mean, what politics is in philosophy specifically, and philosophy is actually what originated politics, is really just the science of how to govern people and how people should be governed. And so that's actually the whole point of the branch of political philosophy, of the branch in philosophy called political philosophy. It's in politics, whatever. Yeah, we don't really need a two-party system because the two-party system is messed up. I mean, look at what it's led to over the past decades. Really, like past like 5 to 7 or 8 decades ish, we have been going downhill and going downhill fast. Actually, I would say that ever since we in like really had political party systems, like a two-party system, we kind of been going wrong because really the only time when we were somewhat resembling what the Constitution entailed or what the Constitution kind of gave us is really just uh, you know when there was no political parties, where things were just decided based on is here's a problem and we fix it. And now we don't have that like at all, and it's become a big issue. And so that's really what I've been thinking about. And actually, this kind of also relates in a way to society in general. I mean, if you realize, specifically Gen Z, my generation, and Gen Alpha, and Millennials, just the last three generations. Right now we have Gen Betas. That's crazy to even say. We've moved to Greek naming system. Anyways, I don't know. It's just funny that we switched from English, like we started with A to Z or whatever, like baby boomers, and we sort of got up to Z, and we were like, okay, we gotta start using the Greek alphabet now. And so now we're using alpha, beta, and until we get to omega, and then I don't know, we're just gonna do something else, I guess. But yeah, that's just side tangent. So our society kind of, in a way, because of this party system, I think it's become kind of divided. Like, actually, not kind of, really divided. It's actually why I personally don't align myself with a party, because political parties are dumb. And really, what they do is just create divide, and they create a division, and they also kind of box people in, because I think every single person has their own slightly different or wildly different ideology and understanding of how government should work. And the Constitution, the purpose of the Constitution was to make sure that the government would work well, and the government, and because basically what the Constitution did was it took all the governments that we had: democracy, monarchy, oligarchy, or aristocracy. If you want me to go more in depth in a future video, I'll probably end up doing it anyways. But if you guys want that, then let me know. But really, just it's kind of led to, it was a good idea initially, is what I was trying to say, because it combines monarchy, the executive branch, aka the president and vice president. Basically, what the main governing body is is kind of three branches. There's the executive branch, which I just mentioned. There's the legislative branch, which in basically makes the laws. There's the judicial branch, which kind of helps in disputes with in terms of those laws, and also can override the legislative laws. Like if the legislative laws. That's funny. The legislative branch's decisions on how to make laws. The judicial branch basically, if the judicial branch in a decision, that's the Supreme Court. So like if the Supreme Court makes a decision, it doesn't go like the legislative branch cannot argue with the judicial branch. Like once the judicial branch decides that something is lawful or not, it either confirms or denies that law. It's kind of set in stone in a way, unless the executive and legislative branches then challenge the judicial branch's decision, and at that point, there has to be like basically a internal debate. And the whole point of this, so like actually before I go into that, the legislative branch in a way is the aristocratic, the oligarchical system in the Constitution, like in the way the Constitution and the way our government is organized basically. The legislative branch is like kind of the oligarchy slash aristocracy. More so aristocracy, because oligarchy is basically rich people governing, whereas aristocracy is just a few people that are governing the whole. And so the legislative branch, initially how it functioned was states chose representatives. I think 2 per state initially. That's kind of always been the case. Two states, 2 representatives per state. And then the Senate, so the representatives, the House of Representatives was chosen by, voted by the people, and then the Senate was actually chosen by the representatives. Basically, the members of the Senate were, that's 2 senators per. Oh no, I got it confused. Never mind. It's 2 senators per state that were chosen by the representatives, and the representatives were proportional to the population. And that's kind of why California has a bunch, like I think 56 representatives in the House of Representatives, whereas a state like, say, Idaho has only 7 representatives because of the huge population difference. And so, it's a huge range. And so, it really depends on the population. And so that was chosen by the people. But then the Senate was chosen by the representatives, or I think potentially by an electrical vote. Yes, by an electoral vote, where basically the electors were, I think, the representatives, or possibly the representatives chose the electors. I'll have to brush up on this because I'm not quite sure. But the electors were chosen by the representatives, or just chosen in general by the people, and then the electors were the ones who chose the senators, 2 senators per state. This actually kind of happened because initially for the Constitutional Convention, which was kind of where a bunch of people got together in a really, really hot room in summer in Philadelphia and wrote the Constitution, and they had a kind of an argument of, they wanted fair and equal representation, so based on population, but they also wanted, but that the problem with that was because the Articles of Confederation, which was the Constitution previously, if those articles were kind of just, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so the Senate is a preservation of the way representatives functions. Sorry, I'm tapping my piano. I have to stop. What was it saying? All right, the representatives. So the representatives were chosen. Hold on, I gotta check if I'm recording this. Okay, good. I just may have yapped for like 5 minutes straight and not gotten that recorded. That would have been stupid. Anyways. So the Articles of Confederation, they basically made it so that the states each had a set number of senators they could have. I think it was 1 or 2 senators per state, and then during the Constitutional Convention, some bigger states like Virginia, felt like their votes didn't have enough weight because Virginia was a massively populated state compared to states like Pennsylvania or Delaware. Yes, Pennsylvania used to be a small state. Wait, no, not Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania. I think it was a small state. I don't remember. Where's my nose so ishy? Anyways, I forgot what I was saying. All right. So the Senate was basically a preservation of the original structure of the Articles of Confederation, and it was basically a compromise between the big states like Virginia and the smaller states like Delaware, to where they basically were able to, to maintain their kind of outweighed power. Because if you think about it, the smaller states had a lot more power proportional to how many people they had, compared to the bigger states like Virginia, where they had the same number of senators, the same number of votes as the smaller states, but the bigger states, well, they had more population, and so they had more diluted representation, and so that's kind of what kind of came up with the Senate. But then, since Virginia, I think it was, I don't know if it was West Virginia or Virginia. I don't know if there was two Virginias at that point or not. But there's now, so there's that. Anyway, so Virginia or West Virginia, whichever it is. If I don't know, I don't really. If you know, then correct me. If not, then Google it. I don't know. I will probably correct myself in a future video. Okay, what was I saying? Right, so we had these representatives, and so the representatives were kind of the big states being like, hey, we want representation based on populace, and then populace, like POPULACE, not populace, like a place that has a lot of population. Populace, like the general population. That is a niche site. Whatever. So we have these representatives, these senators, whatever, and so we have these like two things that were compromised, and that's kind of the legislative branch. I don't know why I went on such a huge rant about it, but what was I talking about initially? Oh right, political party systems. So the political party systems were not initially a part of the Constitution. Like, they were not something that the Constitution necessarily wrote or said. They were initially just kind of, what was I gonna say? Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting. The Constitution was initially meant to, I can't remember. Oh right, okay. I lost it again. No, I remembered it. Okay, political party system. So the political party system was not a thing in the Constitution. It was never supposed to be a thing, but it kind of just happened because something I can get into on a huge different rant on another video. And basically we have political parties. And Washington was warning us about what we have today, which is basically tribal politics. If you are a Republican or a Democrat or Democrat-Republican, whichever order you prefer, you are basically attributed a ideology that you may not align with and not believe in terms of politics, and that kind of creates, I think, a big divide. And they're supposed to basically pick a team. Like, since when are you supposed to pick teams in politics? Politics isn't about picking teams. It isn't about fighting each other. It's not about trying to get your point across. Like, it is about trying to get your point across, but it's not about trying to convince people of something. It's about trying to fix problems and maintain order in society. That's the whole purpose of a government, which is, or a constitution. A constitution is actually a government in reality. And so our constitution, when we called the laws when we called the legal document that we now have as the supreme law, well, not really, because the states can kind of go against that other thing. I have so many ideas. Right, so it's the supreme law of the nation, and it's why do I keep forgetting? Right, so it's the supreme law, and it's kind of establishes what the government can and can't do. And so there was never such a thing as political parties. And in our society now, it causes divides, causes hate. Like, there's really no point in the political party system. Like, dude, why do we have political parties? Just get rid of them. We don't need them. We have to get rid of them. We have to get rid of the whole, oh, the Republicans own 51 seats in the Senate and Democrat. Just no, we don't do that. Just forget that. We don't need that. We need individuals. Okay, we need people that are from diverse backgrounds, that they have diverse ideas, and that they just, that each state gets to pick a senator not based on their political party, but based on their just on their actual ideas, like what they actually want to bring to the table that will be helpful in creating these laws. And so, like, yeah, that's just kind of what I've been talking about. And also, I think it's kind of related to how most of the last three generations are kind of depressed. Really, we're depressed, we're lonely, we're isolated. That's because of urban planning. That's a different topic. I will cover that eventually, probably. If I forget, bully me in the comments. And yeah, so we really just it's a bad thing. We don't need the political party system. Like, just no, dude. Just no. Forget it. Just forget it. Forget it. Get rid of it. We don't need it.